Introducing Kid Franchise, one of the highest recruited athletes of all time. Coming into Ole Miss as a freshman, he will be a two-way player as we lead him to be the #1 and best two-way player to ever play the college football sport. With Franchise at halfback and also defensively at free safety, we have 4 goals for Franchise and his tenure here at Ole Miss. First and foremost, we want to lead Ole Miss to a national championship. Secondly, we want to win multiple SEC championships. Thirdly, we want to win a Heisman Award with Franchise either on offense or defense. And lastly, Franchise needs to break some school records here at Ole Miss on offense and on defense. Let's get into the journey here for Franchise. So we're here to kick off the season. Franchise, he plays two-way player, but he's also on special teams. So a three-way athlete here with Kid Franchise. On the opening kickoff return, he's going to take it, and he'll break through a tackle. He gets through a second. He picks up a block. He gets through a third, 50 yards on his opening return. So Franchise is a dynamic player here for this team, and on the first run play for him here, he's going to go up and pick up 7. So we'd go down and get a touchdown in the opening drive. Now a 3rd and 13 Franchise playing back at free safety. Again, two-way player here looking over the top, and it's going to be almost picked off by Brown. A big defensive stand. So big play early. It's a 4th and inches. They're going to give the ball off here to Franchise. He's going to pick up a block or 2, and he's going to be off to the races. Bulldozes over a Commodore for 32 and a huge first down. So 4th and 1. They're keeping our offense on the field. They're going to go up the middle here. Franchise, he's going to pull through the middle for 13. Everybody getting out of the way of the bulldozer. So 1st and goal here, Franchise in the backfield, and they're going to hand this thing off on the stretch. He's going to power his way through into the end zone, 3 yards out, make it a 2-score lead. So a 3rd and 7, they're bringing Franchise here on a safety blitz, and we're going to go right up the gut here, but we can't get to the quarterback. Fortunately, though, the pressure forces an incomplete pass. So second half, it's 24-0. 3rd and 4, Franchise back here. We're looking to see what they're going to give us here on a 3rd and 4. We have a deep zone we're going through, but they're going to go it off to Gobotch. He's going to break through some defense, but we come there and he runs right into the brick wall. Unfortunately, though, they do get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, so they kick things off as Franchise gets his 2nd attempt at a big gainer on the return. He picks up a block, he bulldozes ahead and gets 39 more. So 31-8, 4th quarter. It's been all Rebels here in the opener of this season, and Franchise has been a big part of that. Special teams wise look good. Now defensively looking to get after Griffin here. He picks up the first, but he bounces back after a huge hit as we rock him. So we pull off the big win in our opener here as Kid Franchise with an excellent performance overall here for the Rebels. So in Franchise's freshman season, Ole Miss went to a 11-1 record with a 7-1 record in the Southeastern Conference, the SEC. It was a tremendous season, but unfortunately they fall short as Bama runs the table and wins the SEC West. So unfortunately, Ole Miss will miss out on the SEC championship. But there is a silver lining for the Ole Miss Rebels and Franchise as we finish 11-1. We're 5th in the rankings currently heading into the championship week as well. And our freshman Kid Franchise, you see it right there. He is 4th in the Heisman voting after a tremendous freshman campaign. Let's take a look deeper into the stats. So on the year, pretty solid numbers here. 255 rushes, 1,300 yards rushing, and 13 rushing touchdowns. Pretty solid numbers there from the power back Kid Franchise. He also received 7 passes for 102 yards with 1 touchdown. And again, he is a two-way player, so as the free safety, not a whole lot of huge numbers here. It's kind of surprising to me, but only 14 tackles, 8 for a loss, though. He had 18 assisted tackles overall with a half sack and 1 interception, 5 deflections, a forced fumble as well. And in the return game, again, he is the trifecta. He had 36 kick returns for 801 yards, no touchdowns, and punt returns 42 for 335. With no returns for a touchdown. So overall, all in all, a tremendous freshman year for Franchise. And in the final Heisman voting, we would finish 5th behind Allers, Parrish, Gibbs, and Henderson out of Ohio State, who takes home the Heisman. And this year, we will be representing the SEC in the All-State Sugar Bowl, taking on the Longhorns, the number 20 ranked team in the nation. Let's win our first major bowl game here with Franchise. So we're here for the Sugar Bowl taking on the Longhorns, and in this day it is a changeup defensively as the head coaching staff and the DC decided to move over Franchise from safety to linebacker for the remainder of his collegiate career. After our offense goes on a tear with our passing attack, we get a lead now 3rd and 21 here in the second quarter. And we are man coverage here with Bijan Robinson. They're going to go out to him, and it's going to be a stop as the defensive end makes the play on Robinson in the backfield. And on the sim, you see Franchise comes up with an interception for 17 yards to set us up in good field position. So after the INT, here we are now on offense looking to pound it into the end zone with our rushing attack. And we're going to juke back, split through, and pick up 9. Back at it again, trying to apply pressure right up the gut, and Franchise gets the block in the end zone, 2 yards out. It's a touchdown. So the defense continuing to play great elevated football here against a solid offense in what Texas brings, but Franchise back deep to return the boot, and he's got to pick up a block, get across the logo at midfield, breaks through a tackle. It's got a punter to beat. He gets through that one. He's going to juke out one more, and he picks up a huge 38-yard return. Now 3rd and 8 here, seconds remaining in this third quarter with a 14-point advantage. Here we are, linebacker looking across the middle, seeing what we can see. There's Kane. He breaks one, but we're there to make the stop. Unfortunately, he picks up the first. So a 4th and 5. It is an empty set, 5 out wide here. We need to stop. They're looking across the middle on the zig, and it's going to be picked off by our linebacker. We're going to try to lead the charge and help with some blocks, and it's a second takeaway of the day for our defense. So this is really the game here. It's 31-14, 4th and 14 here for the Longhorns. We're just going to try to get something going. They're going to look downfield. They're looking, and it's going to be a sack as Ewers has dropped the defensive front too much for the Longhorns. And we will prevail here in the Sugar Bowl. It was an excellent performance all around from this defense, and also the passing attack from our quarterback was just tremendous. But we walk away as we complete our first season in the Heisman front-running race, 5th in the voting, one of the best offensive threats out there. A big defensive switch from safety now to linebacker heading into the sophomore season. Can we carry the momentum we've had here in the Sugar Bowl and lead it into a championship year in the SEC with Ole Miss? And one of our goals has already been checked off as Franchise as a freshman breaks the school record at Ole Miss for rushing yards in a season with 1,381 yards rushing. So unfortunately for Kid Franchise, the sophomore year at Ole Miss did not go according to plan. The team drops 3 games in the regular season, 2 of which in the SEC conference, which means we finished 3rd overall in the West. Taking a look at the schedule, you see the losses we had at number 1 Alabama, a 20-13 loss. We also lost to in our overtime matchup against UL, that's University of Louisiana, a tough one there, and then a 38-35 overtime loss against Texas A&M. 3 tight, tough losses against tough opponents. But the silver lining for the season is one of our goals with Kid Franchise looks to be completed as we wait for the Heisman ceremony. Kid Franchise right now, the front runner as a sophomore and a 3-way player. As we take a look at the stats out here for Franchise in his sophomore year, 288 carries on the ground with over 1,800 yards rushing and a career high 20 rushing touchdowns. A tremendous sophomore year out here for the star halfback slash linebacker. Defensively, moving over from safety now to as a linebacker, it was a huge impact. 89 total tackles, 41 being solo tackles, and 23 tackles for a loss with 9 sacks and 1 interception as well. He also had 4 pass deflections. It was a tremendous sophomore year for the middle linebacker halfback with a huge number defensively. And there you see it. The goal is complete. Franchise wins the Heisman Award as it was a little bit tight there between me and Allen and Wisconsin, but we win by just over 150 total votes. Our sophomore year, the tremendous stats and numbers pay off big for Kid Franchise. And we'll be taking on number 10 Michigan, the Wolverines, in the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa Bay, Florida. So we're here to cap off the sophomore year at the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa Bay, Florida, trying to make it back-to-back bowl victories here for Ole Miss and our boy Kid Franchise. Can he run all over and shut down this Wolverine squad? And ladies and gentlemen, we will get the win here in our second bowl game. Not a lot of highlights to show. It's a 20-13 or 20-23 win here for Ole Miss, our second straight bowl win as we get ready to prepare for our junior season. The Heisman frontrunner for a 3rd year now, looking to make it back-to-back Heisman wins and possibly even get in the SEC championship here as a junior. Following the sophomore Heisman winning year for franchise, you see he set a brand new school record in rushing yards with over 1,951 rushing yards, beating his old school record of 1,381. A huge year for franchise as he breaks that school record, as well as the school record for all-time career rushing yards set before by Deuce McAllister. He now breaks it with over 3,300 yards rushing. A third record broken this year is the school rushing touchdowns in a season, which was held by Brandon Bolden in 2010 with 14, as franchise now ups the ante with 21 this year. And coming into Kid Franchise's junior year, we've now hit the 99 club as an All-American Heisman winner. You see the stats for the first 2 years. Can we repeat as a Heisman champion for back-to-back years? And can this be the year we take Ole Miss to an SEC title game? What a blunder the junior year for franchise was. A 7-5 regular season, 5 losses all coming in the SEC conference with only 3 wins. Those losses against A&M, number 7 in the nation, number 2 Alabama. We also lost to Auburn, number 12 LSU, and lastly at number 9 Florida. It was a travesty of a year for a team that had championship aspirations. And part of the reason that we suffered was Kid Franchise is out for the rest of the year. He had a foot stress fracture at some point during the season. He still has 6 weeks remaining from his return. So unfortunately, he will miss out on the bowl game that we get to. So we will see him back for his senior year. And let's look at the stats for the junior year for the injured star Heisman winner from last year franchise. So he had 274 total rushes prior to the injury, which must have been very recently. He had over 1,700 yards rushing and 9 rushing touchdowns. So still overall, even with the injury and all, a solid statistical year for a Kid Franchise. He also pulled in a career high receiving numbers with 24 receptions, which is double the max he had from last year. He had 336 yards receiving and 5 receiving touchdowns on the year. Defensively, though, it was a big drop-off. 22 tackles with 11 for a loss. He had 30 assisted tackles, but only 1 sack this year. That is 8 less than last year, where we had 9. We're one of the top players defensively in the country. No interceptions, no defensive TDs. He did have 1 forced fumble, but overall, defensively for Kid Franchise, it was a step back in his second year as a linebacker. All in all, it is still a record-breaking year as franchise continues to set the ante higher and higher for all Ole Miss Rebels to come. He has now over 5,208 yards rushing in his career, and he still has a senior year that he may or may not be coming back to depending on his draft stock in the NFL. And ladies and gentlemen, franchise may not be returning for his senior year. The draft stock is high. They're projecting him right now as a second-round pick, and he is declaring, will the Ole Miss staff be able to retain Kid Franchise for a senior year? And ladies and gentlemen, it took some convincing that franchise is returning for his senior year, and he is out for blood. He wants to win another Heisman. He wants to win their first SEC title here under his regime, and also make it to a college football national championship. So time for the senior year for Kid Franchise, All-American, and as you see, the front runner in his senior year for the Heisman Trophy. This will be his second chance at winning it as he concludes his senior year. He wants to win the Heisman. He wants to win the SEC title and win a national championship, as well as taking the all-time record in college football for career rushing yards. Taking a look at the record books here and what we're chasing down with franchise, he holds most of the rushing records for Ole Miss outside of single game performances. But as you see, he has 5,200 yards rushing in his career. And for him to make it into the record books for all time, ladies and gentlemen, in the individual career, he will need to surpass 6,405 yards rushing. That was set by Donald Pumphrey, and we are just over 1,100 yards shy of that. So this year, it looks likely that Kid Franchise may be your all-time college football leading rusher. You're a bumpy sophomore and junior year out there for Ole Miss and our boy Franchise. We've now completely turned to 180. We are first in the SEC West and will be in the SEC Championship for the first time in franchise's career. 11-1, that's sixth best. We are number 6 in the nation. Our only blemish came late in the season at the hands of the number 13 team in the nation, Texas A&M. This has been backed by insane stats, almost career high, and we're not even into his last games. You see he has over 1,800 yards rushing, 19 touchdowns on the ground so far this season. He also has 24 receptions for a total of 384 receiving yards. That is a new career high, and 4 receiving touchdowns as well. Defensively for franchise, he is leading the team with 80 total tackles, 23 solo and 57 assisted, with 15 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks, as well as 5 deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and a block and a defensive touchdown. It's been all in all a tremendous year for franchise in his senior year, but it's just getting started as we get ready now for the SEC title game. So it is finally here. It's taken 4 years. Franchise has not been able to get to this point with this Ole Miss squad, but Lane Kiffin's job has just been saved by this team as we're here in Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC championship. If we're able to win this game, there's a great chance we will be in the national championship. So it's time for the opening kickoff. Franchise, who has not made his name as the return man, but is back there in the special teams unit trying to get this thing started the right way, and he will take it up the sideline. He has green turf in front of him. The big man hustling down the sideline inside the 10 for a 93-yard return to kick off this SEC championship game. So what an effort from franchise. He gets a blow, and now he's back in the game, and he will take it right up the gut into the end zone. It's a touchdown, his 20th on the year. Now over 1,877 total yards rushing for Kid Franchise. What a career. So picking up now a little bit later, 3rd and 7 here for South Carolina, looking to get something going and get on the scoreboard here for him. And they're going to go underneath, and that's going to be a huge hit stick as Whitlock is taken down by Franchise. So it's a 31-10 game here, 3rd quarter of this SEC championship, and we are just trying to lock down some dudes here. They're going to go looking, and they're going to throw opposite of his body. It's picked by our safety, Daniels. He gets the INT, our first takeaway, and the Gamecocks cannot catch a break. But we cannot put the ball in the end zone after the takeaway. So now 3rd and 7 in this 4th quarter, and it is still all Rebels here in this SEC title game as they bring motion across. We're keeping our eyes in the middle of the field here. They go across, and it's going to be incomplete, 4th down. And now we are being called to dial up the pressure here, coming right in a gap, and we're going to come split through. They pick us up late. The pressure is incomplete, though. Turnover on downs. Our Rebel defense holds. So it finally comes to fruition. Kid Franchise had a tremendous career here with Ole Miss, but the journey is not yet over. But he does notch off another goal. He's a Heisman winner. He's broken record after record. He now is an SEC champion here with the Rebels of Ole Miss, taking down the Gamecocks. And now in our sights, we're looking ahead to see if potentially we make it to the College Football National Championship. And after the SEC championship for the 2nd time now in our career, Kid Franchise is a Heisman winner with over 2,000 votes. Overwhelmingly, the favorite walks away with his 2nd Heisman Trophy. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bracket is set, and for the first time, we're in the college football playoff. As we see, we got to take on the number 1 team unbeaten, the Buckeyes of Ohio State. So we're going to pick up in the 4th quarter. It's 34-19. We are leading and rolling here against Ohio State. Bring up a huge pivotal 3rd down and 3. We need a conversion here. We need to keep things going well for us. We get upfield and Franchise breaking tackles. It's a 9-yard gain for Kid Franchise, now almost a 100-yard mark. So it's a 1st down and goal. Under 3 minutes remaining in this game to go to the national championship as we power down to the 1 for a chance to put this thing out of reach. And you just got to applaud the effort from Ole Miss here. The massive underdogs have come in here and battled as Franchise powers in the Heisman, 2-time Heisman winner, that is, with his 2nd of the day on the ground. He breaks another record for himself and just propelled his team to the 1st national championship under his reign. And ladies and gentlemen, we have won the Peach Bowl and we've won the semifinal matchup. We will be heading on to a national championship game with Franchise, and his last season here, came back as a senior, has accomplished all of his goals, and now it's time for the big game for the national title. So it's all come down to this, the national championship, as both of the underdogs prevailed in the semifinals. It will be our Rebels taking on the Broncos of Boise State in the winner-take-all national championship. A big third down on the opening drive, 3rd and 2. We're going to go toss, and it's going to be broken up. He's breaking 3 tackles on. Franchise somehow eludes and breaks through all of the defense and picks up the first. So we capped off the drive, we get a touchdown. Now we're in man over here on defense. 3rd and 4 against the tight end, trying to make sure we get a big play. Staying underneath, trying to bait it a little bit. He's going to throw it deep down this sideline, and it's taken away. Breelove gets the pick. He heads across midfield out of play. It's a turnover and a big one that sets up more momentum for our Rebels. So after the takeaway, 1st down and 10 now here for us as we go on the option. He's going to pitch it out, and we have room to work, and Franchise has one to beat. Going to try to dive, but gets stopped short. 16 yards on the triple option. So we're here, seconds remaining in the half, and Franchise is in to try to put this thing away early here. It's still first half, but we're just dominating here. These Broncos, as Franchise walks it in, 3 yards out. Another touchdown here, and we are rolling away here in the national championship against these Broncos. 2nd down and goal. We're trying to get in the end zone and put this thing away here in this 4th quarter. We're going to pick up a block and get to the pylon. It's a touchdown. Franchise with a 6-yard rush, and it makes it now a 34-13 game. And ladies and gentlemen, we were just too much. Boise State made a run at us, but Ole Miss, in our senior year with Franchise, we win it all. We run the table. We win the SEC championship. We get our 2nd Heisman Award. We also go and win the national championship, along with a lot of records. We are now the all-time leading rusher in all of college football. We've broken every record you could think possible in the rushing books for our school. What a career out here for Kid Franchise. And now it's all about where he'll go in the draft as he continues his level of play on to the NFL.